tuned right there. But right about now, we get into our roundtable discussions. It's only 45 minutes 15 minutes to the top of the hour, and we get into our roundtable discussion. And this morning, like I said, we're talking about a very important subject matter. As you are well aware, Ghana has just settled a $709 million Eurobond obligation ahead of schedule. And while it's making a lot of headlines, the real question is, what does this actually mean for the economy and for everyday Ghanaians? Is this a strong signal of fiscal discipline and recovery, or simply a confidence move aimed at calming investors? And how does it even affect cedi inflation and access to future financing? And I'm joined by a financial analyst to help us unpack what early debt settlement really means beyond the headlines. And his name is John Che, and he's a financial analyst. John, welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Thank you very much.
Great to see you. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you too?
Yeah, I'm doing very well too, by God's grace. And a happy New Year to you.
Oh, happy New Year too. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's get into our conversation this morning. So Ghana has recently settled a $709 million Eurobond obligation ahead of schedule.
Yes.
You know, and that is where the focus is actually ahead of schedule. The amount is significant, but the fact that it is ahead of schedule is what we are paying attention to. So in simple terms, what does that actually mean, and why should everyday Ghanaians or ordinary Ghanaians care?
All right, thank you. For the past 3 years from 2022, we have struggled a bit, especially when it comes to meeting our external debt obligations. And, there has been a change of government. New managers of the economy are now, taking over. And, the creditors are really, really worried. Okay, because, they planned with expected returns, and Ghana was not able to make the payment. So, it was necessary that we show the investor community that, things are working. For example, if you look at the numbers in terms of economic numbers, inflation, GDP, we are seeing positive numbers. Okay, and it was necessary to send a very strong message to our investors that Ghana is back and everything is working now. So it was a clear signal to the investors community that Ghana is now on track, and we don't need to borrow again to pay our debts. We are now actively managing our debts, not just reacting to issues when they happen. Okay.
So that is why we went ahead to do this particular
payment.
So that's why we went ahead to do this particular payment. Right?
Yes.
Is it particularly? Is early repayment automatically a good thing to do, or it depends on timing and context or something?
Okay. Yeah. So in terms of cash flow management, it's not always necessary to pay your debt before schedule,
right?
And because you may also have other obligations or other responsibilities. But I think the reason why the finance minister took this position was to, one, the cedi has appreciated, and investors are still worried about our ability to meet our obligations. Okay. So he wanted to send a strong signal that the numbers they are seeing in terms of inflation, in terms of economic growth, in terms of interest rates coming down, they are real numbers. So let me just make payment to assure them that everything is now on track. So that's the reason why I believe the finance minister took that decision.
I see. But from where you sit as a financial analyst, do you think it's a genuine sign that indeed things are back on track?
Yes.
Or it's just, like you say, it's just something to signal?
Yes. For this current finance minister, I believe he is really doing well, especially when it comes to expenditure management and, the whole economic management. So, personally, I believe that, because investors are still worried about our ability to meet our debt obligation, it was necessary to send that strong signal. And one, exchange rate has come down. So it was, at the end of the year, we had exchange rate around 10.5. So why don't I take that opportunity? Maybe you have more dollars in place. Why don't I just send a good signal to my investors that everything is now working? So it was very necessary for them to do that.
So it is one thing for things to be working, and as a result of that, you are sending a strong signal. And it's another thing for things not to be working, and you still want to send a signal. Okay. So my question is that, are things really working? Are we recovering? Or are we okay yet enough to be able to send that particular signal?
Yes. So if you look at economic numbers, for example, you realize that inflation has been coming down now around 6%. Interest rate too is coming down. You also see economic growth. The GDP also growing. So clearly, all the economic numbers show that things are working. Okay. So it was necessary. That's why I said you have to still build that investors' confidence. And if you just wait till maybe the deadline and you pay, they may think that you borrow money to just pay the debt. But once you take this active approach of paying before schedule, it gives them that confidence that you have surplus funds to do all some of these things.
Okay. So it's a strategic move.
Yes.
But it is based on the reality on the ground.
Exactly.
Is that what it means?
Exactly. Okay. That's what I believe.
From a fiscal perspective, I want to know, how does this decision reflect our discipline today compared to the years that actually led us to distress?
Okay, so if you look at the period between 2017 when Akufo-Addo government came into place, you realize that they decided to embark on supply side economics where they will supply more money into the system. So they were borrowing a lot. Do you get? But you see, once you borrow and you are not able to, because of the COVID and a whole lot of issues, it's affected the expected flows they were expecting from these borrowings. Okay, so you got to a point where,
How do you mean?
Okay, so what I mean is that, they wanted to engage in aggressive economic growth. So let's pump money into the system. So what they did was, that's why if you look at the beginning, they went for 2018, they went for Eurobond, which was about $3 billion. And then 2022, they went for another one. Because they were looking at, let's pump money into the system, the economy will grow. Unfortunately, COVID happened. And because of that, the effect, whatever they wanted to achieve, delayed. And because of that, we couldn't really realize the gains from the debt. Now, when it came to 2020, 2023, you realize that we really struggled with our debt payment. Yeah. So, personally, I sometimes when you are engaging in supply side economics, you have to also look at the demand side. And I think that's where the problem was. We're not very aggressive expenditure management. There's COVID, let's spend. But those spending were not bringing any output because they were just spending to make sure lives are safe. Right after that, there were a lot of, we have borrowed. In fact, we started from 2030. We had a lot of Eurobond that were supposed to pay interest and the principal. Okay, so once we were not getting, we also lock out of the international market. There's no way you can get enough money, and that's where our cedi and all those things depreciated. So clearly, things were not all that good, especially the last 3 years of the previous government. Now, this government has decided that, if you look at the expenditure side, they are very, very aggressive with that. And you will see the finance minister actively managing government expenditure, making sure that everything he has total control of. Do you get it? If you don't bring, your budget estimates and defend, he will never approve. There are a lot of things he cancelled and he is trying to manage everything in such a way that what is needed is what he spent on. You get? So once you see a finance minister doing something like that, then clearly it's a good sign that the economy will do well. Okay, and this was one of the interventions to prove that indeed everything is in order. I don't need to even go and borrow again. I have enough money to pay debt ahead the schedule. So it was a very important step that the finance minister took.
Right. Let's look at the things that investors actually pay attention to. I know that this is one of them. The one-off payment ahead of schedule is one of them. What other things do investors actually look out for to tell that this country is okay, is recovering, is doing well?
Okay. So when you look at the Eurobond market, Eurobond market is for all countries. And most often these investors, treat government as businesses. So, when you go to the Eurobond market, it's not really about, this, you are that one. They want to treat you as a business. And you must send a good signal to them that indeed, whatever they are investing, they will get their money back. Now, they have invested. You came with a lot of, exchange program, and now they are confused. So one, they want to avoid Ghana. So there was a need for us to show them that we are back on track, and you can now come and invest with us. And that's what the finance minister did, which was a very good, important step that he took.
So yeah, I mean, I get the point. I get the point you're making. But my question is, beyond the one-off payment that we do, and I'm not just limiting it to Ghana. I want us to do some good education here. So beyond the one-off payment, one-time payments that we do, like the way we've been able to come ahead of schedule, it will send a good signal.
Yes.
But are there other signals that they look out for to tell whether a country is actually worthy of putting the money?
So you see, investors too are smart. That's one thing we need to appreciate. That you have done early payment. They will also interpret in a different way. Are you getting it? They may feel like you are even using that to, confuse them or whatever. So there are a lot of other factors that they look at. One, they look at the general economy, and especially things that CSOs and other people comment on the economy, and then IMF and all those people,
the credit rating agencies
and the credit rating agency and all that. And these investors, they are abroad, they are not in Ghana, they don't know whatever is happening. So media commentary too is very important to them, and they listen to some of these news to see how the economy is going. But they will look at your cedi, your currency performance. They look at your inflation. You look at your interest rates. If they realize that the economy is in good shape, apart from you just signaling that you are paying your debt early, they are seeing the whole economy booming. Then they believe that things are working, so they will feel confident to invest with you. Basically, that's the other things that they look at.
So, so this time we're trying to send a good signal to, of course, credit rating agencies, the investors as well, and some other institutions. Apart from we signaling that our economy is recovering or is doing well, is there any other message we are sending to them?
Yes.
Or it is basically the fact that we are doing well?
Not really that. The Eurobond market is a very competitive market. And it's not only that you are going to that market. That market is open to every country.
True.
Okay, so it's not just about the economy doing well. It's also possible that, the finance ministry is looking at going back to that market again.
So those are the things that I'm looking for.
And once they want to go back to that market, one, at this moment, you don't have good records, especially because of your debt exchange that you did. And if things just go the way it is, still they will doubt you and try to avoid the country. So once you make this early payment, it's giving them that confidence that, this country is back and they can pay on time. And once you give that signal, then they'll be confident to choose you over other countries. And when it comes to even interest rate agreements and all that, as far as you're able to make early payment, then interest to when you are, because the most important thing is the interest you pay on these Eurobonds. So once you are paying early, you can also use that as a message to prove to them that you don't need to, I'm not high risk country where you have to, charge me premium for the loan that I come for. I can settle that. I can even settle before schedule. So, I believe that is what the finance minister is trying to do. They want to go back. But as they are going back, one, they want them to be assured that the country is doing well so they can pay everything. And two, to also negotiate on the interest side. Because mostly the interest decision is based on your risk. So once you are proving that you can even make early payment of your debt, then they believe in terms of risks, they will reduce it. Credit agencies, credit rating agencies will also improve your rating, and all of them will help you borrow at a lower rate. And you will see that this finance minister is always trying his best to reduce interest rate. When he came, Treasury bill was around 26. Now it's around 11%. So you also want to push that to the Eurobond market side so that you can get the loans at a lower rate.
So does this influence how risky Ghana is compared to other developing economies?
Yes. So you see, most African countries, after COVID, have been struggling with debt payment. Okay, and we also part of it. I mean, there are times that we have to even, postpone debt payment, go, in agreements, a whole lot of things. But once you're able to, send a signal that you can pay your loan on time, every investor will want to invest with you, and you'll be more competitive than other countries. That will be good, especially other developing countries that will be going to the same market.
So I want to know something, because when we talk about sending a strong signal, it's about perception.
Yes.
Is perception as powerful as the actual economic fundamentals?
All right. That's a good question.
Thank you.
In fact, what I would say is that perception, when it comes to the world economy, perception is everything.
Okay.
If you look at US, for example, their debt is more than 100% of their GDP. But there's that perception that as for US, no matter what, they can pay the interest. So because of that, investors feel very confident despite their huge debt and a whole lot of issues happening, including the wars they are fighting. Investors will still choose them. So, in fact, when it comes to, the investment community, it's all about perception.
Okay.
And it is always important to make sure, the investors perceive you in a positive way.
Right.
Otherwise, no matter the fundamentals of your economy, they will not even believe it. Because especially when it comes to government communication, sometimes, these investors feel you are just using figures to get what you want.
Yeah.
So perception is very important. And that's why I'm happy that the finance minister took this decision. To send, so that the investors community will now perceive Ghana as now they are back on track. There's no problem again. Because as far as mostly in developing countries, when it comes to debt payment, they borrow to pay. But this one we didn't see. We didn't go to the Eurobond market. Right. We didn't see any borrowing going on, but we have been able to pay, which means that we have enough funds to do some of these things, and that will send a very good signal.
Very good signal. Yeah. Wow. Okay, please hold on for me. Let me just announce the phone lines. If there's anybody listening to us who would want to join the conversation, they can do so. If you just tune in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. And this morning, we're talking about the early debt settlement that we've seen by this government. Now, a few days ago, I think about 5 days ago, on the 30th, so 6 days ago, the government actually settled $709 million US dollars Eurobond obligation ahead of its schedule, and that is something that made a lot of headlines, and we trying to have a conversation to see whether what exactly that means and how that affects us as individuals. And I'm going to come to that very soon in terms of households and all of that. But you can join the conversation. Send us a WhatsApp on 0544-321019, 0544-321019. Tell us what you think. Send us your questions and your comments, and we'll read them for you. You can also call us on 03039-56641, 03039-56641, and we also give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please feel free to drop a comment there as well, and we'll read your messages for you. My guest is John Che. He is a financial analyst, and he's helping us have this conversation this morning. John, let's come to the everyday Ghanaian. Okay. We're talking about cedi inflation, everyday life. Many Ghanaians are asking that, can a move like this actually help stabilize the cedi in any way, or are other pressures still too strong?
Okay, so when it comes to our payments, for example, especially debt payment, we normally do a lot of, exchange to get the dollars to pay our debt. Yeah. Now, once we have made this payment, what it means that pressure is no more. And most often, when we are starting a new year, investors are very scared about what happens. What will happen, and they can easily dump. Especially when there are rumors. Going around that government may not be able to settle their debt. A whole lot of things. The investors can just dump their investment, and that will have huge implication for our exchange rate. Now, as far as we have made this payment, the investors are now very confident that the economy is working. So there's no need to dump their investment. They believe that now, as far as we have received our money, the principal can still be there, and then we'll earn more. So this payment is actually going to help, reduce any, volatility in the exchange rate in the coming days. Okay, because we have paid our debt already. Maybe we're supposed to pay in March. And you could see that, if you look at, December, despite this payment, the exchange rate still came down, which is a very good signal. Okay. We made this huge payment to our investors, and the exchange rate is still coming down, which suggests that, the country has enough reserves to pay all kind of external debt. So there's no need to worry. And that is a very good, decision that they, so as far as the exchange is going to be stable, or maybe it's even going to go down more, then we, the ordinary Ghanaians, are also going to enjoy. One key issue is that fuel is one of the, commodity that is highly affected by exchange rate. Yeah. Now, the world fuel price is coming down. Exchange rate too is, improving. Yeah. What it means is that fuel price will go down. And if fuel price goes down, it's going to affect a lot of, products, especially when it comes to price, and fuel price goes down. All kinds of products will go down. So it's going to really have positive impact on us as citizens, and that's what I can see.
So is that to say that we should expect some real relief very soon, maybe in the coming months, as a result of this payment?
Yes. So you see, most often when we start a new year, these are some of the things that give a lot of pressure on government. To look for dollars to pay their debts. Now that pressure is no more. That pressure is no more. And when it even comes to foreign investors who normally fear that, when government starts paying their debt, exchange rate to be affected. So let's rush, which normally is the speculations and all that fuel into exchange rate volatility. All those things are going to reduce, which will, help stabilize the cedi. And then, we all benefit in terms of lower prices of goods and services.
Wow. Is it general goods and services, or there are some specific ones? You mentioned fuel earlier, so that is going to be affected positively. We're going to see, I think, in our imports, as of 1st January, we saw that fuel
price coming down to around 10.79 star is now. So it's around 10 to 11, which is very good. Once, our businesses price in fuel. So once it comes down, we expect price of goods and services to also go down, right? So that we will all benefit from this initiative the government has taken.
So fuel is going to be affected.
Yes.
And which other products?
Then all imported products.
Okay.
And because once the cedi is stable, and it means that when we are buying products from outside, in terms of the cedi, it will get it cheaper,
right?
And then that means that imported goods price will also come down.
But how long does it usually take for these things to, for these macroeconomic decisions to actually show up in the daily lives of the people?
Okay, so you see, most often, especially typical Ghanaians, if you look at our market women and all that, they struggle to reduce price. And then they try to bring a whole lot of, we bought the product long time, a whole lot of issues. So some of these things, it's always important that the government have a conversation with our businessmen and women that fuel prices coming down, we also expect you to reduce your price. Especially the transports. When exchange rate is going up and fuel price is going up, they pressure the government to increase their transport fare. Yeah. So once we're also seeing, declining, some of these things, then we also expect them to also at least, show goodwill that things are going well. So let's also reduce prices. But they don't, they mostly they don't want to. But I think government engagement can help.
You finance people say that prices are sticky. Downwards, is that how you say it?
Yes. And most often, you see, sometimes they have this expectation that the price can go up again. So if they reduce the price, a whole lot of things. But once the stability and all that, the stability in terms of our exchange rates, there's predictability and all that. It's important that businesses, traders also, help us benefit from this positive issues we are seeing from the government.
And are we going to have to hold them to do that, or is it automatic?
Oh, no, I think it's not automatic.
Okay.
Maybe I think it should be more of government engagement. Government should engage more with them, let them know, I mean, the need to also, I mean, trickle down the good economy to the people. Because I think recently a lot of people have been complaining that the economy is doing well, inflation is going down, but still, I mean, prices are skyrocketing. I think there's need for engagement to ensure that.
All right. Okay, let's turn our attention to borrowing cost and access to finance.
Yeah.
I want to know this early debt settlement improve our chances of accessing cheaper international financing in the future.
Exactly.
And how soon?
Exactly. I think the government is planning to go to the market this year. I mean, this 2026.
Right.
And that's why they took this, I mean, steps to first build confidence before they go in there. And once they have shown that they can, I mean, settle these debts, mostly when it comes, mostly for interest rates auctioned or agreed. So that one you can negotiate for a lower rate, especially when your local rate is also low. You can push that to get the Eurobond at a lower rate. Just that, I mean, because we just came out of this debt exchange program, it's going to be very difficult for the finance minister to maneuver through. But I mean, once we're able to go back to the Eurobond market, what it means is that we are not going to, I mean, government will not, at the moment, you realize that government is now borrowing domestically. I mean, they are doing a lot of domestic borrowing because they don't have access to the international market. And because of that, can't compete with government. So always, I mean, so if they now go to the Eurobond market and there's less pressure on the banks from the government side, businesses can get cheaper loans when there are even signals from the governor that he will also try and reduce the policy rate. And all these things will help us in the long run as far as borrowing costs is concerned.
Yeah. So does it mean that our recent history doesn't matter anymore?
No, it matters, but sometimes when someone show, I mean, a different story of the economy, which you have not witnessed for a very long time, it becomes very difficult to compare to history, especially when there are two different people and you are seeing different styles and you are seeing someone who is too aggressive managing things. So despite that, I mean, we still have to look at history and be careful about some of the things that we are doing now.
Okay. Right. But so what does all of this mean for local businesses and entrepreneurs who are already struggling with some high interest rates and all of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at, most of the commercial banks, you realize that they have started reducing their interest rate. If you are GCB, for example, your personal loan is going for about 18% and the rest. And monetary policy rate is still high on the high side, which is around 19. Yeah. Now that we have achieved a single-digit inflation, which is around 6, and they are predicting that we will achieve about 5. Yeah. And what it means is that the policy rates will come down more in the immediate term. Once it comes down more, then what it means is that, and as far as government is now looking at the international market and they are not going to compete with businesses, it just means that there is going to be a lot of loanable funds available at the various banks. Right. And I'm seeing them now chasing businesses and traders to come for loan. There have been that history before where banks will visit you and then come for they want to bring you loan. And I'm expecting that to happen, especially when now treasury bill is not really attractive anymore and the government is now going back to the Eurobond market, which means that banks will have to now take initiative to supply loans at a cheaper. This one will not be a debate. They have to supply at a cheaper rate. Looking at everything that's happening. If not, nobody will. So businesses can relax. They should just relax and allow things to move as it is happening. Very soon, I'm sure.
How soon?
The interest. By March, I believe. The budget. They have read the budget. We start the implementation. So I'm sure by March we will start seeing those. We don't have the calendar for the Eurobond market that the government is going back. But I believe as soon as possible we will see that. And I think they have even started, because nowadays I realize most banks now come into companies that do need loan. Yes, I've witnessed that in
The
my
recent
where
house.
I'm working.
Working.
Yes, so they will come. We have a facility. Do you want it? So
Mm.
and normally, the rate too has really come down
Yeah.
a bit. So very soon, I'm sure businesses. So you see, we have been able to stabilize the economy. It's time to grow. Okay, and the growing aspect, we have to be a bit strategic in terms of, targeting specific industries to, provide them the funds to grow the economy. And I think that's what the minister, the finance ministry will be focused on this year.
All right, let's also touch on the trade-offs and the risks, involved in all of this. Does early debt settlement actually strain? Is there a risk really that paying your debt early could strain your public finances in maybe critical areas like, say, health, education, infrastructure, and all of that?
I think I'm very sure that before the finance ministry took this decision, they have looked at their reserves and they have realized that they have enough reserves to settle all kinds of current expenditure that they are going to incur. So when it comes to the risks, personal, because I don't think if they don't have enough funds and they had to pay certain things, they will sacrifice that money to just show off to international community that.
But that is also very important to them.
Yes. It's very that's I think that's why I stated earlier that the investors who are smart. So what we have done, even though it's sending good signal, some of them may interpret it differently. Do you get it? So, but as I said, I believe everything is in order. That's why the government made this bold decision to pay. And if you look at the reserves we have, it looks like we have enough reserves to do some of these things. So I don't think it's really going to affect any other expenditure item for now.
I also want to know, at this point of recovery, do you think that government should focus on debt repayment or domestic investment, or is not an either? Is it not an either or situation?
Yes. So you had issues with your debts, and as a result, you introduced debt exchange program. Even if you want to grow the economy, you still need investors.
True.
You get. So what it means is that first you needed to assure them that now things are working. So there's no need to worry. You can now go long term. You realize that, during 2023, many investors were investing in treasury bills for, 91 days. They were not doing the long term, which means that all the monies you get is just for short term stuff, which you can use to grow the economy. So there's a need to bring that confidence. And that confidence, you can build that confidence when you have paid your debt. So it was necessary for them to, settle the debt. And once they have settled the debt, the people will now have the confidence to invest their money back.
True.
So if we want the money again, it will be easier for us to access the money and grow the economy. Because we can't just, if you want to do domestic investment, we can't, you own people, you are not paying them, you want to do domestic investment, and the confidence was necessary. So that this year we can now bring in more investors to do domestic investment.
Okay, but what warning signs should we be looking out for to know whether this is actually, to know whether we are actually on the right path?
Okay, so I think if you look at the whole general economy, you realize that, in fact, even the cedi stabilization and all that is not really, automatic in terms of fundamentals ensuring that. You realize, Bank of Ghana doing a lot of interventions to stabilize the cedi. Which suggests that, as far as gold board is there, they believe they will always get to the forex to do that. But in the long run, it's not really sustainable. You can't just always be pumping money just to show up your currency. So the domestic investment is necessary, and that's why I was saying that we have to look at targeting specific industries that are critical. And we know that once, you will pump money into those critical sectors, you will see the economy booming. And they should be targeted in such a way you get returns, not, investment that, you don't get back anything.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, for example, this Kwame Nkrumah Museum that we did, and we are generating a lot of money for tourism. You have to target those things. I mean, state-owned enterprises that are profitable, not the unprofitable ones, but the profitable ones, we can help them expand to generate more money. And once we now, start doing those things, I mean, the intervention may not be necessary again.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, there's downside risks because I mean, everything is not. You could see, in fact, even treasury bill rates coming down was a bit government forcing himself to ensure that.
Yeah.
Do you get it? And then the cedi also stabilized. We are also seeing Bank of Ghana intervening in the market, all the time to, I mean, achieve a targeted rate. These things cannot be sustainable. But you see, it's good for now because, I mean, the economy is now recovering. So it's important to do that. But as we are going to the second year, I think we should be more proactive at the supply side. I mean, the demand side is okay. So we have to also look at the supply side where we can, I mean, pump money into the system. But just that we have to be a bit careful because the money we pump earlier, didn't bring anything. And ended up we're not paying our debt. All right.
Okay. So I also want to know, I mean, maybe for clarity, how sustainable is this approach of meeting our obligations? Can we continue to meet obligations without getting into debt? I mean, debt distress at some point.
So you see, the issue is that if you look at our debt payment, it's money we have already borrowed, which we have already used, which in actual fact we're expecting to get returns to pay back. But some of these monies, normally where you put it, nothing will come out of it. So we are now looking for other monies to pay these debts. So in the long run, they are not really sustainable because always then you have to look for money somewhere and pay the debt. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's important that now we look at how we can target specific sectors that we know once you invest in it, there will be returns. Okay. Sectors like oil and gas, ICT, those places, when you invest, you get the returns back. So maybe like Tor, you have seen Tema oil refinery now working. Some of these things can, bring more money to us. So we can target those sectors.
Okay. So what lessons should policymakers actually learn so that we don't, we avoid falling back into some of the cycles that we saw in the past?
Okay. So, I think the most important thing we need to do as a country, especially in terms of policy making, is that as far as you are going for debt, you must know that you will settle that debt. And if you have to settle that debt, if it was a typical business, you will use it for something that would even generate returns. True. That you can pay the debt, the principal, and even pay the interest. But most of you, when it comes to countries, I don't know, when they are going for loan, they just look at their budget deficit. The point is, if you can generate 20 million cedis, why are you not spending 20 million cedis? Why do you want to spend 25 million? And then the extra 5 you want to borrow. Now, the 20 million that you estimated that you get, you may not even get it. But the expenditure, you realize that, but for the expenditure side, you always even go beyond that. Yeah. Do you get it? Yeah. So if you continually do that, then we are creating budget deficit cycle where we have to always look for money somewhere to pay the debt. And as far as you continue that path, there's no way you'll be sustainable in the long run. So still, these issues will come up again as we move on. Yeah. Do you get it? So because this is not the first time. This was a worst case scenario, but it's not the first time we have struggled with our debt payment. And we always advise do this, do that. But at the end of the day, the government will not. So if you look at a country like Argentina, for example, now they operate balanced budget. And
what is that?
Balance, like they make sure their revenue projected is the same as the expenditure projection. Right. And normally what they do is that they look at the revenue for last year and use that for the projection. So if last year was 10, the actual revenue, they will just add some 5%. And they make sure it's the same. Because what do you have to spend? If you are spending over what you can generate, then the question is, that extra money that you want to, then it should be something profitable that can bring the money and pay. But once you are not, and you are continuing doing that yearly, then clearly you have issues.
So we haven't been financially prudent.
Exactly. So maybe, but no, government is a complex business. So sometimes it's a bit complicated to say they are not being prudent, because there are a lot of expenditure that will not bring return, but they are necessary. Right. But we can find a way to balance, as far as we are going for debt. As for the debt aspect, we should use it for something that we can generate returns. But then we can use the taxes to do the other supporting stuff.
So what practical steps? I mean, saying that we have to find ways, I don't think it's enough. Let me probe further. What practical ways? Do you think we have to cut certain salaries? Do you think, what should we do?
Okay. As for salaries, as for compensation, I don't think we should touch it, because I think what I realized for the public sector, salaries is not enough. I mean, if you talk to any public sector worker, so that's not really the issue. But I think you realize that most of, if you look at the government expenditure items, there are a lot of, certain contracts that we sign which involves huge sums of money, like something like revenue assurance contracts. Sometimes I ask myself, so the people there, working, the civil servants, can they do? There are some of the stuff that we can use our civil servants to perform, but now we want to engage external parties, bring external softwares, and all those things cost us so much. Do you get it? And there are a lot of, because most of the things that drives our expenditure, a lot of procurement contract issues, where some of these things, I feel internally the companies can, the state-owned enterprises can manage it themselves.
Right.
Do you get it? If they are being more efficient and effective, they can manage some of these things. They can even develop their internal softwares to use. But we normally bring in external consultants charging so much, and a whole lot of procurement issues, and inflates our expenditure in the long run. And also, when it comes to, and if you look at our interest payments, and now we are able to reduce the interest rate a bit, so that one is okay for now. But we can do more about that, and I'm sure we will be fine.
Right, John, thank you very much. I think it's been a great conversation. Very brief, but very, very in-depth. I'm really grateful that you came. I don't know if there are there's anything that we haven't touched on you want to just say in 30 seconds before we go.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate, and I believe that our economy is in good shape for now, so we can all be rest assured that the managers of the economy are doing something right. We need to support them, and we businesses too must also take action to reduce our prices once things are working. All right.
John, thank you very much. I'm really grateful that you came. Please do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll have further conversations. I've enjoyed this one, so I'm sure we'll have further conversations.
Yes, please. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
All right. Sure. So that was John Che. John Che is a financial analyst, and he joined me this morning for a big conversation on the roundtable, talking about debt settlement as a country. The early debt settlement. We've seen that government has been able to settle some $709 million Eurobond obligation ahead of its schedule, and that's what we've talked about this morning, talking about exactly whether it is the way to go or not. And John says that it is actually a good thing that we've been able to do, because it's going to send a good signal and also going to affect us positively as a country. And so in the coming months, you should expect some real relief. And he's calling on businesses to actually make sure that when things get better, they actually reduce the prices so that the average Ghanaian can also feel that particular relief in their pocket. So that will be all. But if you missed any part of this conversation, please feel free to visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are at ZFMGH, and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. The video will be there. You can go and play it back and enjoy the conversation. So that will be all for our roundtable discussion this morning. But I have a very important conversation coming up too. There's a CEOs. There's an event coming up for CEOs and businesses, and I want to have a conversation on that and give you that information so that you can be a part. It's free. I know that part of it that is free, but when is it happening? Where is it happening? What is it all about? We're going to talk about that shortly. But let's take a quick music break, and when we return, we get into that. Enjoy Wombolombo by Angelique Kujo. Wombolombo, wombolombo, wombolombo.